All right, hello everyone. So we're gonna go ahead and start this next unit 6, where we're gonna talk about user interfaces, okay? So first of all, let's make sure we're studying this unit on this project, the one about collisions practice, where we did our sphere that collects the orbs and collides with the enemies. Let's make sure this is the starting point for this unit. Now, let's go ahead and start with the first concept, which is going to be UMG. Okay, so what is UMG? What does it stand for? It stands for Unreal Motion Graphics, which is the system that Unreal Engine uses to create user interfaces. And what are examples of user interfaces? It could be post menus, it could be displaying the ammo, the health of the player, basically anything that the user needs to see in regards to information in the screen. That's basically the kind of things that we want to have in our games regarding user interface. Okay. So now, how are we gonna set this up? We're gonna start in the content drawer. We're gonna add something here. We're gonna go to user interface. Where is it? It's here. And now you're gonna go to this one called widget blueprint. Okay, so this term widget, you're gonna hear it a lot throughout this unit. And just remember that what it means is just a component that allows the user to perform a function. So it's just really not that deep. It's just basically something that helps us perform a specific objective. So this widget blueprint, specifically for what it is for the user. You see, we're gonna choose this one when you click on it. You're gonna click user widget, which what it does, as you can see, it enables UI for the user through this widget blueprint. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and create it, call it my widget. And now, before we go into this widget and I explain everything about it, let's make sure this widget is actually connected to the rest of the level to make sure it is recognized by the level. So we're gonna do that through my character blueprint. So let's go through my character here really quick. And we're gonna go to the blueprint part of the movement. So what I want here is to actually be able to use this begin play, because what I want is that when the level begins, it can recognize the widget for the user interface. But one thing we can notice is that this begin play is currently being used by the mapping context that we did on previous units. But that's not really a big problem, because when this connects, we have also an available pin here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna drag that available pin and go out of this, because now we don't really want to touch anything about the movement of the player. We want to do like a separate category here. This one, in this part of the blueprint, we're gonna add everything for the user interface, but from my character side. Okay, so here we're gonna start by looking for a create widget node, this one right here. This one is just gonna make sure the widget is created when the level begins. And here on class, we basically choose which widget we wanna use, and then that's where we're gonna choose my widget. Okay. Now, after this, we are gonna make sure this widget shows up on the screen. So we're gonna use a node called add to viewport. And then this is gonna make sure that not only the user interface is created through the widget, it's also displayed on the viewport on the screen. Okay, connect these two as well. And then finally, this is what we're gonna use for user interface. So let's connect this up. Let's comment it out and then just call it user interface. Okay, so now this is recognized by the character, by the viewport. So now we can just go ahead and finish our setup here. Okay, so now we're gonna go on my widget. Now here, let me explain a little bit what all this is. So here we are on the widget for the user interface. Basically on this main area here, we're gonna design how the interface will look like. And how do we exactly set up this design? We're gonna use all these components from the left side, what is called this palette component window. Here we drag and drop all these components that I'm gonna actually be explaining throughout the unit. What are these ones here? But basically you drag and drop those here. You can then see information about them in the details panel on the right. And basically that's how you set up how it's gonna look. Now, something important about this My Widget asset is that you have the designer mode, right? And then you have the graph no graph mode. So graph mode is mostly like the blueprint of the widget. We will be using this later on, but just remember you have these two modes that you can just switch in between in this portion of of the the asset. Okay, so I think this is good enough for the introduction of this unit. Let's just make sure it is working properly. So let's just add this text widget here. And it's gonna just say text block. And for now, we're just testing. So just compile and save as it is. Like we don't have to change anything. And then we run our game. And we should see that text block on the corner left showing up. That's how we made sure that our widget is working properly on the level. Okay. Then in the next videos, we're gonna learn what can we do with this interface.